Hey up everyone, Mr. Juggles 2000 here. I am actually Mr. Juggles on here as well. It just so happens I forgot the password, so I've actually stolen my own name. I was gutted. You know when you've got your name and you go onto a site and you put in your unique name and you find somebody else has got it. I've stolen mine. I just thought I'd do a quick video on 15 minutes of fame. I think I'll be doing a few of these, and the reason I'm doing them is I mentioned earlier I was in a TV show where I sold everything I own. I'm not going to talk about that just yet because I've wrote off to the TV company, seeing if I can get the DVD, and potentially I'll convert it and stick it on here so everyone can see it. I'm going to talk about another one called Richard and Judy, which was massive. Richard and Judy did a morning show. This is for people in America. Richard and Judy did a morning show, and obviously the UK is quite small compared to the whole of America. So it was across the whole of the UK, and then they went on to doing an evening show by another channel. Channel 4 bought them up, and that was sort of quite big for a while. And I went on that. Now, what it was is I used to be a part of a website called BeyondScreen.com, and they used to email you all the TV shows that were coming up, and then you'd just say yes or no, or whether you wanted to do it or not. And 90% of them were shit. But every now and then, there were, are you drunk? Is your life a mess? Do you want to go on Car Crash TV? Do you want to embarrass yourself and not realise the consequence of your actions for years to come? All that sort of stuff, like when people go on Big Brother and do horrendous things and come out and are surprised they've lost the job working for a public sector service or something like that. So you get all this, mother-in-laws from hell, neighbours from hell. They'll phone you, they phone me up and say, do you want to be on Neighbours from Hell? And it's like, well, there's no one in that house, and that house is a very elderly gentleman that's lovely, so no. And do you want to be on Mother-in-Laws from Hell? And it's like, no, I get on really well. If you ever do Desert Island Mother-in-Law, I could go on that because I get on with her. Or if you do Mothers from Hell, I could do that because I have more of a fractious relationship with my mum, but no. And they used to just sort of go do sort of loads of shows, and I only wanted to do shows that challenged me, ones that weren't just me getting my 15 minutes of fame. So the first one I did was I think the first one I did was Richard and Judy, and that was because it was called Dad School, and that was where you just learn fun and interesting things to do with your children. Two teachers had accumulated all this sort of fun thing you can do with your children to entertain them, and then obviously sort of wrote it down and wanted to pass that knowledge on. So there's a little sort of light entertainment section where of the TV show where they got dads, taught them how to do these silly things, and then had them on the TV show to talk about it. So I did that. I was also on Kill It, Cook It, Eat It, where I saw animals slaughtered in the morning, and then I ate the animals at night. I'll talk about that another time. I was on Gutted, where they come in and supposedly streamline your life and then end up selling everything you own. Everything I own, not everything the family owns. And I'll talk about that when I get my DVD. And I was also on one, and I've got it, but I'm not going to upload it on here, called Penis Envy. And it was supposed to be a programme about male body dysmorphia, or men sitting around and talking openly about men's issues and self-image and the fact it doesn't affect women now, and it doesn't only affect women now, it affects men, and it's and the fact it's not gender specific anymore, that that the men are supposed to have body hang-ups, and well, that's how I thought it was anyway. So a load of us went down to London and we all sat around in a circle and talked about men's issue, and then they picked three of us to actually come back on the show, and I was one of the three. And long story short is they got you to talk about your penis size and whether you were satisfied with it. And at the end of the TV show, there was a shot of you in front of a full-length mirror, naked, talking about your journey or your experience. So I did actually go on national TV naked with my penis out. So that's something that I don't think YouTube will allow me to have. But I digress. The one I'm talking about is Richard and Judy. And that was really, really good. And really good because Richard and Judy was sort of quite big within the UK. And when I was younger, I was on something called John Craven's News Round for quarter of a second, half a second, right in the back on a train station, and that was amazing because John Cravens was a children's news presenter, and for me that was fantastic. So to go on dad school with my son, who Richard and Judy had always been around from when he was born, was a real experience to do with him, and I enjoyed what they did. They taught me to make rockets out of Alka-Seltzers and film canisters, or the history of the world with a toilet roll, or how to calculate the speed of light with a plate of cheese and a microwave. So I went down there, and again, to get 10, 15 sort of men in, and teach them all these fun things and have a chat with them, and then obviously the ones they feel are going to be good on TV, they have back on the show, and they asked me to be back on the show. So me and my son went down on a train to London, to Covent Garden. We spent the whole day in Covent Garden. We actually took £70, £80, £90 just in case, and didn't end up spending any of it, well, except when we ate, because we were just having such a fun time looking at the sights and walking around. So we actually went to a really posh French restaurant and sat down, and it was me and my 7-year-old son, and it was lovely just because it was a father and son thing. And then Richard and Judy phoned me up because they recorded, well, they didn't record, it went out live in the afternoon to say they was ready for us, and they picked us up in a chauffeur-driven posh car, not a limousine, just posh car to us, and we went to the studios and, you know, met all the runners and the people sort of doing the show, and then obviously we walked up the corridor and we watched them doing, Richard and Judy doing whatever segment they were doing. Then we sat down on the sofa and did our segment. Now this is just a small bit of our segment that I'm going to click to now.
Really basically is to, you explained to put the toilet roll, let the toilet roll go all around the house.
Yes, I think it's supposed to represent, the toilet roll is supposed to represent the timeline of the world. So the beginning of the toilet roll is the creation, or the beginning of the Big Bang, and when everything started to form. And the very end of the toilet roll is where we are.
The last tiny corner.
The very last tiny corner, but that doesn't come until the end. Like you say, so many steps is when it all sort of solidified, and then so many more steps is when dinosaurs. And then when you get right to the end, I think it's 0.005 of a millimetre is where we came in. So out of this massive long, I think it's a 100-yard toilet roll.
Would you like to see that happening again? Because we filmed you doing it, or you filmed you doing it. Let's have a look.
Yes.
But if you want to see the whole thing, the whole section, then obviously there's going to be something there for you to look at. But then when we came out, we had some crudité, and they put a real sort of nice sort of food spread for us. Although we couldn't really have much of it because we had to catch the train sort of back to Mansfield, and London's about 150 miles away or something, which in the UK is a long way. I know in America that's just round the corner to you, and you sort of can make that trip really easily. But yeah, it was on Richard and Judy, and it was just a really, really sort of nice experience. Really nice sort of to do with my son. And it was really nice just to be on TV and come back and have something to talk to people about. And I'm not fame hungry. I actually wanted to do that because it were fun things sort of to learn with my son. And then obviously, you know, there was the bonding and just the hanging out with him that sort of came after that. I was actually very nearly on a TV show about religion, and I'd have loved to have done it, but my wife didn't want to be on that, and they wanted a secular family, a family with no faith, to try and run a religion, so they could come and ask you to be Muslim or Rastafarian or Mormon or something like that for a month. So you do the prayers, the meetings, and you get involved in the faith, and I just thought that'd be absolutely fantastic. It'd be brilliant for the son. We're very, you know, if he chooses to have a faith when he's older, we want him to have a faith from a knowledge of the faith, not one that is indoctrinated. It's there into sort of as he grows up. And I actually applied to be on one called Brand New You, which is like the British Channel 5 equivalent of Extreme Makeover, where you have all the plastic surgery and things like that, because my teeth are absolutely screwed up. Hate my teeth. Hate my teeth. And I applied for that and actually got down to the filming in London to a selection process. It didn't make it on TV. And all my friends said to me, don't wash for a few days before you go there, and don't shave your beard, and don't comb your hair, because I had hair then. and just really dress down. And I didn't want to do that. It really wasn't about being on TV. I wanted to sort of try my best. So I washed and I shaved and moisturised and wore clothes that I found smart. And I went down to say, this is me, and this is why I'm not happy. I've got marks under my eyes. I don't like my teeth. I've got a pot belly, and you know, I'm just not happy with myself. But I didn't get through because all the people around me had not washed for 4 days, had the shittiest clothes on, and proper sort of amped it up, and I didn't want to do that. But what I took away from that was they said bring down photographs from your past, from your childhood, that sort of represent how you feel about yourself and your self-image. You know, the photos you look at and you don't like. So I asked my mum and dad for all the photos, and going through them, I couldn't find one. I couldn't find a single photo that represented how ugly and obtuse and awkward I felt as a child. And for me, that was a real epiphanal moment. That I realised I had all this paranoia about, would I get a girlfriend, am I ugly, and all that sort of stuff. And then as soon as I'd found the person I love, got married and settled down, it floated away. It became inconsequential, and I got a more realistic perspective sort of on my life and my self-perception. So I actually enjoyed not going on that show because it made me realise my self-perception was different. That I was actually happy. You know, I'd found the person I love, and everything else was inconsequential. I got the family. It was just, you know, it was nice to have that that light bulb moment. So yeah, that's me waffling and going off the topic and talking about sort of 15 minutes of fame. If there's anything you want to ask, absolutely. If I get any video editing software where I can sort of blur out scenes, although I could cut them out, couldn't I? I might just upload that sort of penis envy. In fact, no, I'm changing my mind. I won't. There's too many scenes in there. It'd make no sense at all to you. So yeah, that's it. 15 minutes of fame. Richard and Judy, if you want to watch that. And that's it. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.